welcome to GCCars. My name is Eric, and today we get the 2021 Kia Sorento X-Line. The Sorento is Kia's smaller three-row SUVs, fitting in just below the Telluride, and the Telluride obviously won a lot of awards and was very well received. So let's see if the Sorento here can pick up right where they left off. But first of all, why don't we talk about the fun stuff, the engine and the transmission. So we get a 2.5 liter turbo inline 4 in here, producing 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. That engine has made it to an 8-speed wet dual clutch transmission. You can have the base engine here, which is a 2.5 liter without a turbo, which has made it to a regular automatic. This turbo engine here gets the dual clutch. So let's see how quickly this car can accelerate. Of course, it's a three-row SUV. It's not really that important, but A, it's fun, and B, we do it with all cars, so might as well test it, right? So we can switch to sport with our really good dial here. We're going to talk about that one later. And I'm going to leave it in auto. We can shift manually, but we're going to do that in a second. Let's just put it here nice and flat. Okay, I'm not going to, let me just turn auto start stuff off. I'm not going to brake torque because I've made the experience that doesn't work that well. So we're just going to stand and 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, not 80, not 80. That's decent, definitely decent. 6.5 seconds to 100 according to car and driver. More than plenty. It's a three-row SUV. You won't need any more than that. And honestly, with almost 300 horsepower, you can merge everywhere. You can accelerate everywhere you need to. I never needed to use any more than half gas in this car, half throttle, sorry. And it's totally fine. But let's try the automatic. Well, actually, let's try the manual shift and get the same pedals we had in the G70, and it reacts reasonably well. I downshift, there it is. Downshift, third gear, fourth, fifth, all right, and downshift, downshift. So there's a little bit, and let's shift up to sixth. So it is pretty quick for a three-row SUV, definitely. It's not really that quick considering it's a dual clutch, but that's just the tuning, I guess, because, the setup and all, how they programmed it, because quite frankly, it's a three-row SUV. You don't really need it to be that sporty. The shifts are smooth, you don't really notice it, and the whole drivetrain is actually pretty smooth, though. Let's just put it back into comfort. It's really comfortable to drive, and you won't ever complain about the drivetrain, I think, in this car. So with that out of the way, why don't we talk about the looks of the Sorento. Exterior impressions of the Kia Sorento. Aruba Stone Green is this color, and I love that we got more colors now. That green is making a comeback, and I hope we get to see more yellow soon, although probably yellow would look pretty bad on this. So green is a great color. Aruba Stone Green is not really that visible in like overcast. You don't really see that it's green, but like you can see now when the sun's out, it pops really nicely. I love it. I like the grille inserts we have, and in general you have some really sharp lines and edges and like curves. It looks really good. It looks nice and rugged. The X-Line, like I said, is a bit higher up. It's a little bit lifted compared to the regular Sorento. And in general, yeah, I like it. I think it looks good. But if you have a different opinion or the same, I don't know, post your comments, post your opinion down in the comment below. I'd love to hear what you think of this Sorento. I love that green is making a comeback. More and more cars are green again. Love it. Color is always good. But we've talked about the drivetrain. Let's talk about suspension and handling. Like, once again, handling, we're just going to try it because, well, we always try it. It's not like it really matters that much, except for when it's awful. And bit of understeer there. Surprise, surprise. It's not awful. It's totally reasonable for a three-row SUV. There's a lot of body roll when you really try to, turn in, but honestly, it is really not more than you need. In terms of sportiness, you really don't need it at all, actually. And ride-wise, it's actually really comfortable. The suspension is really nice. It absorbs all the bumps you have in this car, like on the road or train tracks or anything. Get absorbed really well. Even stuff like train tracks and harder bumps get absorbed pretty well. You feel them, but it's not like a harsh bump. It kind of gets softened out a lot by these suspensions, so they really tuned that well. But why don't we just go and take a look at the interior where you spend the most of your time. Okay, let's take a look at the interior of the 2021 Kia Sorento X-Line. And I really like it. Honestly, it's a really nice interior, especially for the price point. Materials wise, we have really nice leathers. Honestly, this is the nicest leather steering wheel I've had in any car, and I've had Infinitis and some others This is really nice. Also, the leather here in our standard console is really nice and soft. Good job. Otherwise, we have a mix out of like soft touch plastics and a bit harsher plastics, but we have really good usability. Everything is nice and wide. Everything is big enough. You can put your arm easily up here with padded elbow rest, and it looks really good. We have capacitive touch buttons here, which work really well. I know some people don't really like capacitive touch, but I think it works really well. And even though it's gloss black, it actually doesn't really get that filthy with fingerprints. It looks pretty good overall, and the whole layout is really nice. In the X-Line here, we have the analog gauges. We don't have the screen we get in the upper ranges and upper trim levels, but it's totally fine, works well. And we have actually really nice accents on our stocks here, which I think is really cool because we have gloss black on them. Just makes them look a little more upscale. Other than that, I really like our center stack. First of all, usability is really good, and this wheel to select our drive modes, just so satisfying because it has a nice resistance. So it's like a really tactile click with every turn, and you have like a sound to it. All the buttons work well, and especially I really like this interior. The button for our heated seats, well, kind of more like a switch, is really nice. Most of the time it's just a button, which is fine, but sometimes you get a little confused about like how often did you press it? Did you press it 3 times around? And this is so ergonomically, it's so well laid out because you just put your hand on here and your 3 fingers go perfect to the right, your thumb goes to the left, and just kind of push it forward slightly. It's so comfortable. I don't know. It's minor, but I like it. And other than that, we have our aluminum finishes to set some accents, and yeah, I like it. But let's take a very brief look at the second and the third row, and then we go back to driving. Okay, this second row. First of all, we got captain's chair, so we get 2 seats in the second row, and we have armrests, which is really nice and comfortable. These seats actually are super nice, I think. They're really nice and straight, so it supports your back. Headroom, legroom, really good. We have a full cup holder. We can put a water bottle down here. Honestly, really good. Everybody will be happy in this captain's chair. If we want to go further back into the third row, super easy. Just go through this little tunnel. But that's kind of where the easy ends, I'll be honest. 5'7", that's my size. I will make a shirt. As soon as I have merch, I'll make a shirt because I say this literally every single video. I just about have enough headroom, but as you can see, like literally if you're an inch bigger than me, you won't have headroom here. You gotta kind of squeeze your neck a little. Legroom even isn't the problem either. Really the problem is the height. It's just so low, you're pretty much sitting on the floor. That the angle is just really uncomfortable. I could drive on this probably for 30 minutes. Further than that, I wouldn't want to do it, but I think this is more of an emergency use third row. So if you have to take neighbors' kids to soccer practice or anything, then it is good. If you really plan on often using your third row, you might want to consider stepping up to the Telluride, just because it could get a little cramped. But if you have to ride in the back row here, you have a cup holder, you have USB ports on both sides, you have plenty of storage, and you even have your own AC controls for the right-hand side passenger. So you can turn it on and off intensity, which is actually really nice. Honestly, the whole, like every seat has so many USB ports here, which is really nice. But let's go back to driving. As you can see, there's really not much to complain about in terms of interior, even for this X-Line, which is the mid-trim, about the mid-trim. It's the more off-roady version, which is, we're a bit higher, so we have more clearance, ground clearance, and it looks off-roadier, almost German, not off-roadier. Anyhow, speaking of German, I got a new segment for you guys, a new character. You all know the Southern Eric I always use for my truck reviews with a cowboy hat and the fake Southern accent, which hopefully isn't all too awful. You liked it. So I've got another segment coming, which is I don't know if you like it. You got to tell me if you like it. I hope it's okay. But let's take a look at the details of the Kia Sorento. Guten Abend. Today we take a look at the details of the 2021 Kia Sorento X-Line 3-row SUV. I presume that is this vehicle. Let's get started. The name Sorento, S-O-R-E-N-T-O, clearly lacks efficiency. Unlike beautiful names like Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid Sport Turismo and Mercedes-Benz GLA 250 4MATIC Plus, this seems to be evoking emotion. We have come up with 2 possible explanations for the name. First of all, A village in Illinois is named Sorento. It has a population of 498. We assume this is highly unlikely to be the name. Then we have Sorento with not one but two R's, is an Italian town in the Bay of Naples with warm weather, great food and scenic views. This seems like a place for leisure and feelings. How inefficient. Let's continue. The official fuel economy ratings for this 2.5 liter turbo in the Sorento are 8.4 liters on the highway, 11.1 liters in the city, okay, 9.9 liters combined. Yeah. While we were not able to do an independent fuel economy test, our observations during the testing period seem to confirm these numbers. Let's continue. Notable in the front of the Kia Sorento are the split front vents, which allow the front occupants to direct airflow to different parts of their bodies and thus increasing their climatical well-being. Now for a little fun exercise. How about we look at the size differences? Ah yes, jawohl. The lower vent is about 53.8952% smaller than the upper vent. How funny. Please excuse the excess humidity in the air. Research shows that at this geographical location, at this point of the year, this is actually quite normal. Do not be concerned. Now, the Kia engineers have thought of an easy way to enter the third row. If you do not desire to go through the middle lane, just press the button on top of the seat. And now your human offspring has easy access. Okay, before we wrap it up, I just want to quickly talk about the drive modes we have in this Sorento. And we have 7 different drive modes. So we have 4 normal ones, which are Comfort, Eco, Sport, and Smart. And then we have 3 off-roady ones, Snow, Mud, and Sand. I mainly drove in Comfort and Eco. Comfort is really nicely balanced, so kind of the Sorento reacts just how I want it to react when I'm braking or throttling up. The Eco mode obviously softens up the throttle response a little bit, so you can save a little gas up and be a bit more ecological. Kind of self-explanatory. The Sport mode obviously does the exact opposite. More aggressive throttle response. It downshifts a lot earlier. Actually, it kind of instantly drops the gear. If we go to Sport now, there we go, instantly drop the gear. And it's really, the Sport mode is actually a lot more aggressive in terms of like throttle mapping and how the engine and the drivetrain in general respond to you. So that's pretty nice if you want to drive a little more sporty. And then Smart, I didn't really use at all, I'll be honest. I've quickly taken a look at the off-road modes. I didn't really off-road it at all, but you know, when I was parking it, we had a lot of snow, so in the morning I might needed to fight out of a parking spot and grab myself out of there or be on some slippery surfaces. So that's when I just tried out the snow mode, not because I really needed it, because I wanted to see what happens. And it really softens up the throttle response a lot. Basically, it drops it. It kind of feels like it cuts it in half. So what does that? Pretty simple. It makes the wheels spin a lot less, or it basically takes a lot longer for you to spin the wheels because the throttle is reacting way less aggressive. And at the same time, it just kind of helps you get unstuck if you're stuck, or prevent you from getting stuck by making sure that your wheels don't spin as quickly. And yeah, honestly, that's really all there is to say about this Sorento. I almost said I like it, but I will say that in a couple of seconds when we are in the final thoughts. So I'll see you in the final thoughts. Okay, time to come to a conclusion on the 2021, the new Sorento. I think it's evident from the video that I really like this Sorento. There wasn't really anything I complained about aside from the small third row, but really did I complain about anything else? I can't recall having done so. And that is really where, if you know my videos, I know that I can be a little nitpicky here and there, but this is just a really good SUV. You got good exterior, it looks good. Interior is really good. It drives really nice. You got almost 300 horsepower, plenty of power. So this is really nice. And this X-Line mid-trim level is a great value. Like, it's $41,695 Canadian after destination charge. That's a damn good value, guys. I'll be honest with you. Of course, you miss out on some features if you go by going for the mid-trim instead of going for the top trim. So you don't have an automatic trunk. You do not have leather seats. You do not have the fancy Hyundai Kia self-driving assists. Hey, post-production error here. Just quickly want to note, even the X-Line actually has Kia Hyundai's cool lane keep assist. I was totally oblivious to a big button on the steering wheel for some reason. If you watch my highway POV video, you can actually see when I noticed that we do have the feature. And that was my cat. Back to the video. You do not have the screen in the middle. There's a bunch of things here and there you might miss out on, but you also pay like 8 grand less compared to that. So might be worth it, actually. So yeah, I really like the Sorento. If you need a family hauler and don't need the third row all the time, remember it gets pretty cramped in there, and even if you can fit the kids, then you don't have any luggage space after behind it. You might want to consider stepping up to the Telluride, but other than that, I can highly recommend this Sorento, and yeah, I liked it. But that's it with the video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, I would appreciate if you could subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any more videos. We got videos coming on a pretty much weekly basis now. We got a Mercedes coming next week. We got a ZR2 coming the week after. That's gonna be a cool video. And yeah, honestly, there's not much more to say. I hope you liked it. I will hope, and I do hope that I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. Exterior impressions of the Kia Sorento X-Line. First of all, this is Aruba Stone Green. It's not gray, it's green. And every click is like really satisfying, and it's a nice audible click every time. That feels nice. And I really like it, honestly. I was pleasantly